Hello, everyone. No quitting the home team coming in hot today.
Or cold.
We'll see. It actually literally is hot in Denver.
It is.
So it just feels like Dave and I made like a really intense dinner last night that was delicious, but it involved lots of sauteing things on the stove and cooking things in the oven. And we were like
We're
dripping
sweating.
sweat by the end.
It was like a workout.
We digress. I digress.
No, Dave came in this morning talking about how he had to pop a Benadryl because the shallots hit him so hard.
They were intense.
Man, I've yet to recover from that. I'm still blowing my nose. We're approaching 24 hours ago.
I wonder if there's a shallot allergy.
Well, I think I have a piece of a shallot in a cavity, in a nasal cavity somewhere.
Gosh, you should really have that looked at.
No, it wasn't helpful last night when you looked at me and you were like, you should probably take some medicine.
This is
Shirley said in a very loving and sympathetic, compassionate way.
Oh, maybe you should take some medicine. It was like, you should take some medicine.
This is the problem with. Can we just unpack this?
You going to do something about this?
We're coming in hot, literally from the start. So when you sneeze, Dave's a sprayer. I mean, it's like a sprayer. Whereas some of us, kind of a more like
over the hose.
And it's all kind of contained. Even like our kids, but when you sneeze, it coats surfaces.
I cover my mouth.
Even so, you have to admit this is the case. So we're cooking.
Well, a sneeze is supposed to.
You're expelling.
Maybe, but when we're cooking and we have lots of things going, you're just like spraying and spraying and spraying. And it just is a little gross. I have to be honest, it was a little gross. So I just said, hey, maybe you should take something.
Was that the tone in which you said
it? You should take something.
Was it? Okay.
That's how I heard it. Anyway.
Okay. Can I reissue that suggestion?
Yes.
Hey, honey, maybe you should take some allergy medicine.
Oh, thanks. I think that's a good idea. I think I will.
Okay. See? It's better.
Excellent.
Anywho.
Hey, how are we?
Team. Episode 5?
This is episode 5.
Yeah. Season 3,
season
episode 5.
3.
Here we go.
Coming in hot.
Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah. Aren't you going to do the introductions?
Like, how are we doing?
No.
Like
you
we haven't
always
said
do.
our names yet. We went
yeah.
straight into shallot talk.
Okay, yeah. I'm Renee.
I'm Dave.
Hey, I'm Jesse.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on this crazy Thursday.
So, Renee, how are we doing? How are you doing? How's marriage treating you? How's life?
Yeah. I think we were kind of talking about this before the episode started, but this is kind of the first week of fall schedule, and Dave and I are so tired because our day has shifted earlier than we've ever done for a couple of reasons. We, throughout our marriage, have just been night owls, and we stay up late and we crawl out of bed in the morning. And there have been seasons that we had kids and we're like, we're just going to have to shift this where we go to bed earlier. And we do for a little bit, but we
always gravitate
towards staying up late.
Yeah, it never takes.
So due to my work schedule and when the boys leave and when the dogs need to be walked, we're getting up at 5 a.m., which I know people do this all the time. This is just new territory for us. So
I'll get up at 5 for basketball, but it was always like, it wasn't like a family rhythm. Yeah. And now this is a family rhythm.
Right. So I feel like, and we record on Thursday afternoon, which is actually the end of our week, because Sunday, when you're in ministry, it just isn't the weekend. The weekend is sort of Friday, Saturday. And so Sunday is kind of a Monday.
Right.
So by the time we get to Thursday afternoon, it's our Friday afternoon.
Yes.
So we're always a little bit like, gosh.
And I almost always have a meeting on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
That's a counseling time. I always have someone over Thursday. And tonight is one of these rare nights where I don't. Where a couple had to cancel, and now like the weekend has started like right now.
You get to slow roll your weekend instead of crash landing into it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel I'm kind of excited. I think every sphere of life is fun and exciting and going mostly well. So the kids are in school, doing well, job's going well. It just is to go from, and our summer wasn't super lax, but it just feels like we talked about jumping into the stream. We're in the stream. We're in the rapids.
Yep.
So I'm tired, but good tired. Like not bad tired.
Yeah.
Good tired.
Yeah. What about you, Jesse?
You guys remember my thing I'm hot on from last week? Do you remember?
Home projects?
Home projects. So last week did the locks and new knobs and all that stuff. This week, I don't want to say I guilted, but I kind of bait and switched one of my best friends into helping me move our fancy new combo washer dryer down into my basement. That is about 300 pounds.
Gosh.
Wow.
And so, shout out to Nick Whedon, a real one. He helped me get that thing down there, and we're no longer suffering from a dead gas dryer and having to hang dry clothes or haul them over to my sister's house. It's amazing. You just throw dirty clothes in there, and like 2 hours later, they're dry and clean. It's incredible.
That's
That
how
is
you know
amazing.
Yeah.
you've reached full on middle age.
Just so domestic. Just the most domestic. And the joy I got.
You're right.
Going like, and it has a heat pump, so it doesn't even need 220. It just
Oh,
runs off
gosh.
like a normal one.
Heat
I'm
pump
like,
talk.
yeah, I know. Exactly. And part of me is like, if 15-year-old you saw you now, he would hit you in the face. He would mock you and he would hit you.
I remember the
So,
first like Christmas or birthday or something, I asked for a kitchen appliances.
Yeah.
And I had the thought, we're old.
We're old.
Right. When you're like when you look at advertisements for vacuum cleaners
And you're like, that's what I really
is
want this
nice.
year.
That could really help our home cleaning efficiency.
yes.
Like, we're basically dead. And then this week, I'm replacing our front door.
Oh, wow.
So the door was delivered yesterday. Gonna route like mortise in all the hardware, stain it, hang it, just
Hey,
a thing a week.
Where does one get a front door?
You want a door, I can get you a door.
Wait, where does one?
No,
Just, I
honey,
just
we
bought
got
it online.
There's a place called the Door Store.
But, no, I was
You can
baiting
go
him
to the door
see,
store.
to see if that's where he got it.
It's not where I got it, because you want to know the average cost of a door from the door store?
Thousands.
Pushing 5 figgies, and I'm not interested in paying that kind of money for a front
Wait,
door.
5 figures?
5 figures, Dave.
Dang.
5 figures.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
worth it.
No. I did not pay that. I still
Did you
paid money.
discount door store?
No,
Frontdoor.com?
I did not like send me a thing that is basically paper. No, I didn't quite go that route, but I did not have a local company ream me for an exorbitant amount of money. So I spent an amount on it, and it was an amount I felt comfortable paying, and it's a very solid door. So everybody wins except for the door store. Sorry.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, good.
Dave, how are you?
I'm doing well. Like what you said, we're in a rhythm now. We're like school started. Our ministry rhythms are almost kind of full throttle. Not quite there, but nearly full throttle. So I'm feeling good about that. I've kind of was a little apprehensive of just sort of the emotional cost of getting full, like all in again. But we're in it. We're in it and feel positive about it. And yeah, one of the things I treasured most in previous years was this habit that Ian and I got into, where after he would get out of a class early, and he and
They
I
have early release on Wednesday.
yeah, he had early release, so approved getting out early.
Like everybody gets out early on Wednesday.
But he and I would meet actually it was at a bar.
A bar. Mm-hmm.
Near his high school, and he and I would just talk. And eventually we started to call it like the Inklings, like based on C.S. Lewis and Tolkien. They would meet at a pub and talk
Eagle and
about
Child.
life. And, yeah, the Eagle and Child. We've been there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Ian is a huge Tolkien freak, but he at school, just in normal, he has good friends at school, but none of them really kind of meet him at a level that can
Kind of a philosophical,
spiritual, and also creative level. He just kind of feels alone. And so I was like, hey man, I'll talk to you about those sort of things. So 2 years ago, we started meeting, and it was
meeting weekly,
every Wednesday. It was
For your own little Inklings.
yeah, it was this precious time. We'd meet at the same bar. We'd have the same waitress come, and she knew our drinks. And it was like something
we're not getting drinks for
non-alcoholic.
Not like a brown ale or something.
Yeah, non-alcoholic. But,
it's a bar/restaurant.
yeah. But anyway, last year he couldn't do it, and so we took a whole year off, and I kind of felt the loss of that. So at the end of the summer, we started to talk about that loss, and it was more like grieving on my end. I mean, he didn't come to me and say, Dad, I really miss having these talks. But I talked to him like, oh man, that was really special for me. And he said that he missed it in that conversation. I was like, well, do you think we could resurrect this meeting? And he was like, absolutely. So we've met now twice. After the second meeting, Beckett
crashed it. Beckett's like,
he asked
I want in on this.
if he could join in.
Yes.
And so we had our first meeting with the three of us, and it was pretty amazing. So it's the beginning of a semester, but I have like a standing Wednesday meeting with Ian and Beckett at a bar talking
The
theology.
best.
at a bar.
I mean, you held office hours at the Brutal Poodle when you were teaching at Denver Seminary, so
Right.
there's a theme here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
No, that's
yeah.
great.
All right, honey, what we've learned so far. What's something that is a hard won insight in marriage, something we've learned so far that you think people would appreciate and be good for them to hear?
This one's pretty subtle, but I think for us has become a bit of a mantra. And the origin is strange. So
The origin of the phrase, not
is strange.
the concept.
No, it's strange. So during the pandemic, we got a Peloton with stimulus money, and
Sorry, say that louder again. What'd you get?
it feels like such a.
What'd you get? You rushed over that, Nay.
So we got a Peloton with stimulus money, and I actually love it. I love it so much.
Cue the Vivaldi.
One of the instructors, he's colorful, and many of you probably would know him. He's kind of become known more broadly culturally, but he has this phrase that he uses often, referring to lots of things, and he says, "It's not that deep." And so a lot of the Peloton instructors, if you guys do Peloton, it's so intense, right? And it's like, feels like if you don't meet the standard or whatever, it's like you failed in life. And he has just a completely different approach where he's like, hey, you showed up, like, do the best you can. And it's not that deep. It's just exercise. And I think that's such a helpful perspective. And we've sort of taken that phrase and we use it a lot.
And apply it to often scenarios where it's overblown. It feels really complicated. It has like an outsized sort of presence in our life or someone else's life.
Or outsized effect on your emotions.
Yes.
Or outsized effect on your well-being.
And the reality is that for the vast majority of those occurrences, it's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
not meaning it isn't important, but really it's whatever the solution is probably isn't that complicated.
Yeah.
So I kind of think it's not that deep, and I connect it relationally, where if there is some conflict or something sort of blown up, the solution to it probably isn't that deep. It's probably, you've probably misunderstood something. I've probably taken something out of context, and the right pathway forward is probably along the lines of, I should probably say that I'm sorry. And I probably have jumped to some conclusions that I shouldn't have. It's not that deep.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated. Just today, and I was talking to you, Renee, just today, I connected with a friend, not at all connected to Fellowship Denver, but we connected, and this friend rehashed sort of a relational kind of drama that my friend's a part of, and some history to it and whatever. And after reflecting and hearing about it, the real meat of the problem wasn't that deep. It's like, oh, just say you're sorry. And that's and it could solve so much of emotional baggage that my friend was sort of having to grapple with. And so what we've learned so far is that oftentimes issues and problems that we find ourselves into, it's caused by inflated ego or some issue of pride or shame, or something's come up, and the solution to that probably isn't that deep.
Yeah. For me, it's helpful in expectations. So like this week, I had a huge event at work I had to pull off, and part of this event was providing families with a cadre of supplies, uniforms, things for the school year. And I had this bag. I wanted to put it in like a nice, because I do like, I
Very
value
specific.
I value nice things, right? And I value quality. So it's like I had a vision of what it would look like to have all of this to hand to the families or whatever. And we just, the source didn't pan out. And then we tried other things that didn't pan out. And it was like scrambling to find something serviceable. And in my mind, I was like, whatever, it's not that deep. It's just a bag, right? Whereas I think sometimes expectations and the things we worry about and stress about shouldn't carry that weight, and they do. And I think some of the things, this phrase has helped me in just holding loosely some things that aren't that, it's just not that deep. It's a bag. Families don't care. Didn't have to have a bag, right?
Right. And ironically, when you make that transition emotionally, ideas do actually pop up when you no longer have the pressure.
Right.
So, I mean, I was there. I was helping you that day, and you actually found some bags that worked wonderfully.
Right, but I think that was serendipitous.
It was but I do think like the hard work was on the front end of that.
Right.
And then there was this release of like, hey, it actually isn't that important.
Right. But I think in marriage even, it's been super helpful because I probably have more expectations. You know, it's like, so what? You don't put your clothes down the chute. It's not that deep. That part is not that deep. There are things that are deep, right? Like our relationship with God and our marriage, but like the incidentals day in and day out. I think it's been helpful to kind of have a category in a phrase of like assigning it where it belongs. It's like, whatever. It's not that deep.
Great.
So thanks, Cody.
Yeah. Well, we've learned so far, most things,
Not that deep.
not that deep. All right, everyone. It's time for your favorite segment and mine.
Wait, why do you say that's everyone's favorite segment?
What?
The article
what's coming?
talk?
Article
Yeah.
talk.
Have you gotten that feedback?
No, I'm just assuming that.
Oh, okay.
Well, although, you know what? I think I can say it's everyone's favorite, definitively, because it's the only thing I've gotten emails on.
Yeah, it's true.
Ooh.
It's true.
So the only evidence I have outside of my own impression is that people like the article talk, or at least they want us to talk about, have articles they would like for us to banter on. So
Fair play.
it is that time for article talk. Today's article is an article by Faith Hill, the writer, not the singer.
We haven't confirmed that though. We have not confirmed.
There's no
looked at a
possible way
picture.
anyone could know that.
I looked at a picture of her.
Okay.
There's a little like thumbnail
Okay.
sketch picture,
Okay.
and it didn't look like the famous country singer.
Okay.
The title of the article is The Mystery of Partner Convergence. It is an article about a phenomenon that most people can observe, which is couples, after a certain amount of time, can often begin to have their personalities sort of converge. They can kind of become similar and sometimes even kind of begin to look like each other and have the similar preferences. And
She calls it the Michelangelo phenomenon. Over time, romantic partners start to slowly change to be like each other, which I thought that was an interesting description.
And she's not really evaluating whether or not that phenomenon is good or bad, but or that it happens. I think she's sort of taking for granted that something like that happens. But the meat of the article is really examining what makes for that change. What are the real causes of that change? And it may not be what we assume. I think the assumption is that we kind of doing life together, we kind of adjust and adapt and begin to create like lessen opportunities for conflict, and then begin to do life in a way that's harmonious by just sort of accommodating and slowly adapting each other's personality uniquenesses, sort of like the Borg for Star Trek Next Generation fans. We just kind of take the distinctiveness of each other and add it to our own.
It also made me think of, do you remember that movie? It was a Julia Roberts movie. I don't know, maybe in the 80s, Runaway Bride.
90s, but yes.
90s, yeah. Where every partner, she just immediately converges to. So do you remember this?
No, I never saw that movie.
I think we saw it together. I think I saw it with you, but regardless. If he's like an outdoors guy, she shows up in camo so immediately converges to him to make the relationship work. It made me think of sort of the benefits and drawbacks of, this was in excess and like an extreme portrayal, but what the benefits and drawbacks of that actually in the course of a marriage.
Right. And she talks about the socialization.
Yeah, there's two theories, she says. One theory is that we're just attracted to people who are kind of like us anyway. And we watched the same shows growing up. We were raised similarly. So we're kind of already attracted to people who are like us.
And when you think of like all of the technology involved with dating now, the sort of people, like there are algorithms that they put potential partners through that then connect them with other potential partners
right.
who match.
So you're already pretty similar on the front end. So of course, with time, that just increases.
Right.
So that's one theory. The second theory was the socialization theory is what she called it, where partners mold their partner to be more like themselves. So they subtly or not so subtly encourage their partner to change in ways that they adapt to their preferences.
So to quote, but it can also include more direct sway, say encouraging or discouraging certain behaviors or steering conversations towards certain topics.
Yep.
That tendency is sometimes given a name more intimidating than the Michelangelo phenomenon. Rather, it's called social control theory, which is exactly what it sounds like. Take the Don't Drag Me Down study she references. A less happy partner might say, have fewer friends over time, and the fruit is that the unhappier one sense of negativity might pervade the pair's day-to-day interactions.
Yeah.
In other words, the social control theory is that if one person's happy and the other person's unhappy, eventually it works towards the negativity.
Right.
And the happier person over time gets unhappier and unhappier.
I think less sinister. I mean, social control sounds sinister.
Right.
Less sinister than that is just the reality of, I was thinking about this in our situation. So when we met, how many vegetables did you eat and like?
I'm counting potatoes as a vegetable,
No,
right?
it's a starch. No.
They're in the ground.
No.
Okay.
Like, honestly.
Honestly. So vegetables that would come on a hamburger.
So a pickle. So a repurposed cucumber.
I would like green beans.
Okay.
Fried okra.
Okay. But all that to say, I didn't feel like I was socially controlling you, but I generally cook and shop, and I kind of do the food part of our marriage and family. And I just like vegetables, and that's been a huge part. And now I would say you like and eat a lot of vegetables.
Right. And certainly in comparison to where I was when we met.
Right. But that doesn't feel like social control. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't sinister in motive. It was just like the practical outworking of the fact that I do most of the cooking.
Right.
And I like fresh vegetables.
Right. And I think with that example in particular, it was more of because I haven't thought about this forever, but it was more of in discussions, you want me to be healthy.
Right.
And you kind of want me to be around.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't more, it was more intentional.
No, I remember us talking about this.
Okay.
Like there was a desire for me not to die of a heart attack when I was 50, based on my diet. But that didn't feel like control as like you didn't want me to look or be a certain way.
Right.
It was more of how I understood it was, no, you want me to be healthy, to stick around longer. And it was for my benefit. So what's fascinating is that this article ends with the kind of a third option that wasn't just sort of convergence. It wasn't the social control, but it was this. And I have a longer quote here that I'm going to read to us, and then we can talk about it. The socialization theory has its critics too. Now, socialization, that's the social control.
Right.
As partner of a major convergence study, Hammond and his co-author expected to find that partners became more similar across a variety of well-being, attitude, and trait measures. But after surveying nearly 200 couples, they didn't find much convergence at all. Partners did change over time, but independently of each other. One reason, Hammond told me, could be that many of these couples had been together for a long time, an average of 27 years. Whether relationship length was driving that result is unclear, since some studies of more established couples have found convergence. But he wonders that if merging may just be something that helps partners connect early on. You meet someone new, you fall in love, that's when you change your personality and your belief systems, he explained. You try and fit together, and then after a couple of years, you go, we've done enough merging that we can feel secure and similar to each other, and now we're just going to do our own thing. Now, that actually struck me as really insightful, because we've talked about this just in our marriage, but I think at times on this podcast, that for healthy couples, there is this hard to define transition that happens where they no longer are trying to measure up. They're no longer behaving in such a way as to try to be accepted or to sort of feel secure. They know they're secure. They know, I mean, this is when we talk about naked and unashamed. Like they know that their spouse is going to be with them thick and thin, and sickness and in health till death do us. Like they're convinced of that. And when that happens, that security actually allows for freedom to be yourself. And in a crazy kind of sense, a kind of individuality actually is able to emerge that is fostered by and encouraged by their spouse who is different. And that's actually a picture that we get in Genesis 2. And I talk about this with couples all the time because this is a concern that couples have. Am I going to lose my personality, my individuality?
And you're kind of like, just hang in there long enough and you won't.
Well,
get through the first 7 years.
Ironically, yes.
Right. Well, and it kind of feels like there's beauty. I mean, I think we're both very different, personality-wise, preferences. And I think because of that, we bring a fuller experience to our relationship and to other people because you're good at certain things and I'm good at certain things and they're not the same.
Right.
And so almost the difference is a beautiful puzzle piece.
Right. But if that difference causes insecurity, which is often what's experienced in relationships, especially early in marriage, like wherever there's difference, there's insecurity around that. There's uncertainty. Will I be accepted if she really knows that I don't like the thing that she likes?
Yeah.
Then will she love me or not? Or will she be around? Well, once you sort of muscle through that and you realize she's going to be there, he's going to be there, then at once you can be honest and say, actually, I don't like this thing. But you can also begin to appreciate what they like. And the differences actually begin to create oneness. So when you think of Adam and Eve, that famous line, they were, and the two shall become one flesh. There's what makes oneness is actually remaining distinct. If you think of the physicality of what Moses was getting at there, in order to be one as a couple, you have to maintain distinction.
So you're saying convergence isn't good, or like largely the Jerry Maguire, you complete me, or like the idea that you become, your identity fuses is not good, harmful, more harmful.
I think that's largely unhealthy. And from the Christian perspective, that isn't biblical marriage. Biblical marriage, two becoming one, is actually two. What makes the oneness is the distinction between each individual, the husband and the wife. That's what actually creates the oneness. So a way to think about it is that, Adam, when he was created, he was a fully orbed person, a fully formed human, complete in and of himself. Eve was a complete, full person, complete in and of herself.
But almost lacking socially, not lacking in identity.
No, right.
Like
not
lonely,
lacking in personhood.
Not lacking in personhood, but lacking relationship.
Right. So it wasn't good for a man to be alone. Now, so what I think is important, though, in terms of a vision of marriage, is that as a single person, all of your individual gifts and personality and the thing that makes you you, the beneficiary of those individual bits and pieces that make you you, the beneficiary ultimately is you, and maybe your community, your family, or whatever. But it's really you. And in marriage, the biggest difference is all of those things are now reoriented. They're not changed, but they are reoriented now to benefit your spouse.
And you.
And you, yeah.
You still.
But it is reoriented in a way that benefits your spouse. And
But I think both and, just to say it benefits just your spouse, I think does erase a little bit of identity and the individual benefits of that.
right, but I think though yes, and it is a shift though.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay, unpack. What is it that you don't like about that?
I just think it's both and I don't think it's mostly for your gifts and talents and individuality is mostly now for your spouse. I think you're still an individual person, and it's half and half. It's not like you get the leftovers for yourself. You get the. Yeah, I think it's both.
Would you say that it's 100?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
But the way you're framing it sounds like 95-5 or 60-30 or 60 or 60-40.
Right. I think I like the idea of 100 better. Mm-hmm. And at least how I'm thinking of it, conceiving it. Because if I think it's 50-50, then how can you not eventually be like, well, I gave this, but I didn't get that. Like everything is like a negotiation.
Yeah.
But if it's like, no, part of marriage is I have my own individuality, my own gifts and perspectives. And in the context of marriage, I use those things to benefit my spouse.
And still, and me.
Yeah. And me. Yeah.
Because you can't extricate that from your, like, of course what you do is going to benefit you. Right. Like it's like in the same body.
But it is a change. Like that's the change though, is now it's not just
I just think the way you
anymore.
framed it feels like all of a sudden it's like, it's all about the other person. And don't think about you. Don't think about what you want. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's all oriented to this person. And I don't think that's the reality. Or I don't think that's what's biblical either.
Right. But I do think I guess what I'm emphasizing though is there is the initial shift in like thinking front end marriage. And I'm thinking like, I walked couples through this, like through this concern that you don't actually erase your individuality at all. But part of marriage is a reorientation of that, of what makes you, so that it no longer just benefits yourself,
right,
but benefits your spouse.
Right. And how you said it that time feels more like both and.
Okay. That's what I meant the first time, honey, just to be clear.
Okay.
So, but if convergence is right, then...
Which you seem to be saying it's not. Like what she was, because in the end she was sort of like, yeah, if it happens, okay. And you seem to be saying, no, that really, that isn't the goal.
I think a lot of people in the Christian world assume convergence is biblical marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And part of me...
Ooh, and maybe like, and I don't want to offend anyone, I'm sorry if I do, but there are people whose social media, they'll only do one after they're married. And I think there are certain segments where that's what you do, right? Once you're married, there's one social media.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like I've noticed in certain subcultures, that's kind of like the expectation, which I think practically exemplifies what you're saying.
Right. And which is fine if people want to do that.
Totally. But I think it sort of underlying that is like, now we're the same.
Right. Where there is like a merger in our souls.
Right.
And that isn't biblical. You're not going to be, Christians I think forget this, you're not going to be in heaven with your spouse as your spouse. Like Jesus made that super clear. So
that's kind of sad.
Well,
it's a longer conversation for another day.
This is a different podcast.
I think the merger of our souls if that's the definition of two becoming one, which it isn't biblically, but if that's like somehow our spiritual life is so connected that we become like a single entity, that isn't biblical, and it doesn't fit with the trajectory of redemption
Right.
that we see in Scripture. So, and it's obviously too much weight to put on
Right.
your spouse
Right.
to have to be so so much like you that I can merge my soul into you. Like that's
Right.
not that
Right.
isn't a biblical worldview.
Right.
So I do think convergence in that deeper spiritual sense can become problematic and become more like what counselors would call enmeshment.
Right. Right.
Where
And we
now,
talked about that
Yeah,
last season
right.
more in depth.
So anyway,
So
What-
Faith Hill, you got it wrong.
well, I think she's describing something that's true that happens all
Right,
the time.
right.
And
And she doesn't really put a value judgment on it, whether or not it's right or wrong. She's just sort of talking about social realities that she sees.
Yes.
Yeah.
and I think in Christian world we sometimes can I think have a misunderstanding of that the goal of marriage is that somehow we become a single entity, and that's not the goal of marriage. Two becoming one, it requires distinction,
Yeah.
and that's a beautiful thing.
This feels like a bit of a soapbox for you, honey. Is
Well-
it in counseling?
Yeah,
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
not a soapbox, but an important truth to convey.
it's something that I often talk about because people come into marriage with an expectation that their spouse is going to fulfill them spiritually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if that's the expectation, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because you're not marrying Jesus.
Humans make lousy gods.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Good
Yeah.
discussion.
Article talk.
Woohoo. Now we're going to spouse advice.
Yes. All right, Renee, I think you're up.
I am up.
What advice do you have for the husbands out there?
So it's interesting because we were having a harder, like we commented in preparing for this episode that we are like, this may be hard to come up with week in and week out. So Dave actually helped me with this one for advice for the husbands based on what his observations in the last couple of weeks. So this is for people in a phase of life that we're not in anymore, but for people, and I think a lot of our listeners have young kids or toddlers or babies or kind of in that early phase of parenting. And Dave was like, I think husbands need to remember that people, children, dogs, whatever, are constantly pulling on young moms.
Like on their bodies.
on their like physical
Yes,
bodies.
physically.
Like in the strain of that. Because that's just not my. I mean, I like bribe my boys to hug me now, right? But there was a season where, at every turn, someone is like physically attached to my body and wants something from me, physically, and a good reminder for husbands in that phase that's really exhausting, and just what the respite of that should look like.
And to be just to be mindful
Yeah.
of that. I think there's a lot of different passages of scripture. One is from Peter, where he reminds husbands to interact with their wives. The word he uses in an understanding way, like in a way that is knowledgeable and filled like compassionate and has a ton of empathy. Like, and I think husbands and I remember myself in that phase. Like, it's so easy just to forget that my wife's body is literally what's being required of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so different than what's required of my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to be mindful of that and to honor that and to be understanding, I think is really important.
So our spouse advice is like a joint advice.
It is.
It's not.
We've converged, honey. Dang it.
Uh-oh.
Dang. I do think I'm way more chill than when we first got married. I think there is some convergence. Don't you think?
Well, I think in the positive sense of what are we going back to article talk?
Well, I just was like,
Yeah, I think in a positive sense.
no, there are ways. I mean, we hung out with I love my family. If you guys are listening, I love you. But there's a tension and intensity with most interactions that I remember, but we just don't have. And I feel like I can go there very occasionally, but for the most part, Dave's presence is very chill and relaxing and calm. And I think some of that has bled on me.
Great.
In a good way.
Good.
Sorry.
I've bled on you.
Influenced.
Yes.
How about that? Okay, so spouse advice is kind of joint advice this week.
All right, honey. Hot and cold. What are you hot on? What are you cold on?
Hey, I think this is you this week.
I know. I cannot wait. That's why I wanted to introduce it. And I'm hot. I'm hot.
I would have to say this is the hottest you've been on something in a while.
I know.
This man is heated.
Okay, I am hot on Bo Nix right now. I'm so hot on this young man.
You might have to just even explain to people who this is.
He's the 24-year-old starting quarterback for your Denver Broncos. And
Where did he play college football, Dave?
well, he played at Auburn.
Well, better question is where didn't he play college football? Because
And he played forever, and he played at Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And we, Denver Broncos, drafted him 12th round, first round.
Are you
12th
now
pick
are you now
12
part of
rounds.
the management team?
it's just 7 rounds.
Are you consulted with the management team
of
of the Denver Broncos?
you know, they probably should have consulted, but they, in this instance, they got it right. And I and many Broncos fans have languished for 8 years in a quarterback wasteland. And just to have hope. Now, as we're recording, he has yet to play a regular season game. He's had 2 preseason games, which it's notoriously difficult to make any real assessment on how.
But the amount of discussion in our house, the amount of articles shared, the superlatives that are used. I keep telling both you and Beckett, like, you guys are going to crash hard.
Beckett already knows. Like he I think is just being empathetic towards me. I feel like I've been radicalized.
Yeah, there's. I agree. I think you should proceed with caution, honey.
I know.
And I've told you this.
Here you have, but this is why I'm so hot right now. It's simply because
Here goes.
there is
Here goes.
there is reason for hope, and I know from experience that, you know, as the season plays out, that hope could absolutely be dashed, and then we're in the same place next year. But right now is wonderful. He's yet to throw an interception.
Let's hear the stats. Can we hear all the stats?
I think he's at 21 completions out of 27 thrown attempts, 2 touchdowns. He had a third one that should have counted, but it didn't. 6 out of 7 of his drives resulted in scores. It was just amazing. It was just proficient quarterback play.
Preseason.
Preseason against backups, and no one's game playing against him.
He's Schrodinger's franchise quarterback at this point. Until we've actually observed what he's going to do, he is simultaneously the best and the worst quarterback in the history of the Denver Broncos.
Right,
and at some point, we'll see what he is. But
in the same way that I am hot on the Rockies every April, it's because I have 1 month of baseball where it feels relevant, and then I forget about it, until the next year.
I don't know what that's like. My team just won the World Series.
Yeah,
I'm not picking fights. I'm sorry.
this is what I've got. I'm just saying. This is as a.
I'm just trying to protect your heart.
I appreciate it.
Over under on
just
wins this season.
Yeah, 11-6. That's what Mike Kliss predicted.
11. Man, if we were 11 and 6,
I think
I will personally contribute to building a freaking statue.
I was going to
Bo
say
Nix
a winning
first year. If he
record
wins
feels.
11 games his first year,
Yeah, I'm
getting a jersey.
I'm leaning
mid-season.
more towards 6-11 than I am 11
Yeah,
and 6.
If he wins 7 games, and how you win the games is important, and he looks like a real quarterback, I'll be ecstatic. If we eke out 7 wins out of just because of strategy, just because
Guys, this discussion could go on for days.
how many articles have I sent to you?
Too many.
Dozens, right?
days. Yes.
So anyway, I'm really hot on it. I'm
Yes, this is the
this is
definition
why we have
of
this.
This is the
segment.
definition
Truly.
of hot.
I'm hot on it, and who knows? By the time this podcast drops, that special season could have already passed.
August
This will
22nd.
drop. Yeah, and this will drop after the Broncos have played their first game of the season.
Okay.
Right. So we'll see, but I'm enjoying it right now.
Okay.
All right. Are you hot on anything, cold on anything, or do you just want it to be Bo Nix?
Well,
Give him his proper.
We had pretty
respect.
extensive discussion about Bo Nix. I don't know if there's
Okay,
room
I
for
think
any
we should
other.
just honor him and just let it be him.
Okay, let's let it be him.
You guys are unbelievable.
All right. Hey, guys, we really would love, we've gotten quite a few article recommendations emailed to us, and we love that. So keep those coming. And I think next week we're actually going to read one that we've had a couple of people recommend to us. It's a gospel. Did we go ahead and preview it?
Go ahead and I have the. Do you want me to?
I have it too.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Preview it.
by Beth Cleese, Gospel Coalition. Think biblically about relational. Oh, I didn't finish reading.
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
There it is.
Think biblically about relational boundaries, and I think this is a super relevant discussion in marriage and family and friendships and everything. So,
Yeah. And we've talked about the famous book on boundaries
Right.
a couple of seasons ago. We reviewed that book. So, yeah, I think it will be a great article to chat about. And
So
thanks
read it with
for
us.
sending it in.
yeah,
Person,
thanks, guys. Persons,
plural, who emailed us.
Yeah, thanks. We love listener engagement, and yeah, we're excited to chat about it.
All right.
And if people have those thoughts, where can they send them?
Dave at fellowshipdenver.org.
Renee at fellowshipdenver.org.
Jesse with no I at fellowshipdenver.org.
Oh, good distinction. So
Hopefully at this
you're-
point, if you know me, you know how to spell my name.
Is
but
it Jesse?
That's it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is that the same spelling of David's father, Jesse?
It is.
Okay. Is that who you're named after?
No.
Oh. Who are you named after? Is it Jesse James?
Also, no, but we've told that story on the podcast, right?
Okay.
Dave's like, all right, yep, that's it. That's the episode for today.
All right.
Next time I'll tell the story of how Dave called me James for 6 months
On staff.
on staff. Contract, not sad. You
Yeah.
have at least that out.
But we did meet weekly.
Yeah. So that's a tease for next week.
All right.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Have a
Bye.
good weekend. Bye.